Okay, I realize at this point that there may not be anyone here. I just finished premiering a video and I happened to see Judge Middleton was live with an emergency PPO. And we all know that Judge Middleton has some pretty crazy PPOs. So I hope you guys can hear me. You should be able to hear me. And we are live. I know that we're live this time. Like I said, I don't think anyone is watching. No, not yet. There we go. Hey, Trinity, can you hear me? And Fritz barking. Oh. Okay. All right, good. Sorry, I was typing. All right. I guess we're like the only ones here, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start this emergency PPO. I swear I'm getting better at this, guys. Okay. I am not going to
let's go on the record.
Fast forward this first part, hopefully.
Thank you all for being here. Interested parties.
Hopefully some people will join.
Visitors here today as well. This is a 45th Judicial Circuit Court case. All other judges presently are not here. They're on vacation or otherwise occupied. The only judge in the building. I'm also cross-sworn as a circuit judge, and I'm the Chief Judge Pro Tem. So this matter is entitled The Village of Centerville, a Municipal Corporation versus Centerville Investments, LLC, care of Houston Moyer. The file number is 22967CZ. Joshua Lauka.
Okay, can you hear that? Oklahoma. I'm actually from Oklahoma originally.
Centerville. And you are?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. William Todd Van Eck on behalf of Centerville Investments, LLC.
Sorry.
What's your PIN number?
54745. And I'll be filing a written appearance in the next couple of days.
Can you spell your last name?
V as in Victor, ANECK.
You're Houston Moyer?
Correct.
I don't know if I've ever met you face to face, but I've seen you on the Zoom feed on some previous cases. Also present is Roxanne Sieber on behalf of the Village of Centerville, and Mr. Douglas Kuhlman, who is one of the zoning enforcement officers for the village. There are a number of interested parties here, and this is a public proceeding. This is a circuit court matter, and the circuit court does generally live stream its proceedings. However, this is a matter of some considerable public interest, and this matter is being live streamed. Yesterday afternoon, at about 5:15, I signed a temporary restraining order. That's the title of it. The restraining orders are controlled under Michigan law by statute and by court rule, but under Court Rule 3.207, the court may issue an ex parte and temporary restraining order with regard to any matter within its jurisdiction, and may issue protective orders in domestic violence. This isn't the type of case. The court may enter an ex parte order if the court is satisfied by specific facts set forth in an affidavit or verified pleading that irreparable injury, loss, or damage will result from the delay required to effect notice, that notice herself will participate adverse action. before the order can be issued. I wasn't concerned about that. As in many emergency cases, the court does not have all the facts at its disposal. And we're trying to do the best we can with the information that we have. I received information from my court administrator sometime in the middle of the afternoon yesterday that the village may be asking for some sort of an order for some sort of relief that Mill Race Landing, the apartment complex here in town, had broken pipes and a flood. So I had a busy court calendar. I was in court on other matters, but at that moment, I sent an email to Aaron Goff, the County Emergency Services Director, and to Kelly Hostetler from the United Way, and included them on the text and said, are you aware of this circumstance? Apparently neither one of them were at that point. Then I went back to finish my doc.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting the hang of this. I want to clarify, we have had the huge winter storms that started last Friday. Here in Michigan, we did get the temps are dropping down into the 20s and actually I think at one point we were 3 degrees Fahrenheit. But starting yesterday, our temperatures have gone up. Yesterday in the middle of the day, we were at 40 degrees. Today we're in the 50s, maybe 60s. So what I think may have happened is pipes may have partially frozen from the weather, which happens even if you have, even all your plumbing inside, it can happen here. So I'm kind of thinking that as everything was thawing out, then a busted pipe happened. That's actually extremely common here, unfortunately. But I don't know. I've watched a little bit further into this, and then I decided we're going live. So you guys know is same time I do. So I think that's what probably happened. But I just wanted to give that context for everyone.
Docket. Sometime after 5 o'clock, Douglas Coleman came with a petition for a temporary restraining order and an accompanying order. As I indicated, I signed it last night, late in the day. As I indicated, this is a circuit court matter, but Judge Stutzman was not available, and I was it. I signed the order, again, not understanding the entire circumstance, but what I did understand from the affidavit is that the complex had suffered a flood from broken pipes. There was no heat in the building, and the village had shut off the water at the building and at the street. So there was no water in this building, and I understood no heat. I also understood there were some portable electric.
So yeah, like I said, it sounds like it was the pipes broke because there was some
flood.
freezing.
Not a good combination. I signed the temporary restraining order because there was a potential for fire and no fire suppression. There's no operating sprinkler in the building. And I thought, if I wait till tomorrow and have a hearing on this, and somebody dies in this house, in this apartment, we'll all look pretty foolish. So I entered the order with the understanding that it's real easy to enter an order and sign a piece of paper and say, do this. But somebody has to do it. And at that point, it was unclear. The petitioner did not present any plan on what to do with the residents in the building or how many there were or what to do with their pets, or children, or people that had difficulty moving. But it was an emergency situation. So I ordered it relying on the competence of our sheriff's department, our emergency services unit, our victims unit, and the United Way. Apparently the Red Cross did not get involved in this. And I set the matter for a hearing here, right now, in court, 20 hours later, which was the best I could do. And so we're here. This order is an ex parte temporary order. We're gonna decide here what happens next. But fortunately, the place didn't burn. No one has suffered any catastrophic injury that I've been made aware of. And now we have more time with both sides here to address.
Do an administrative search warrant yesterday. He did provide the results here via email. I can certainly have him testify as to what it was that he observed, which I believe that the defendants are going to want to hear. I also have Michelle Thibodeau here. She operates as a Department of Public Works manager, and she did run the water account.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out how to get it set so that I can control the picture with another device. Thank you, Jamie, for joining me for your first live with us. I appreciate it. You're also from Michigan. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I might figure this out at some point, guys. I apologize. Okay, so yes, it does sound like there is a broken pipe. I'm trying to set it up so that I can use a couple different devices. I don't know. I'll figure it out. That's why the screen went straight to me, because I messed up. So I apologize for that. Let's get back to the. Let me know if the volume is too loud for the video or if I'm too loud. I can't tell, so I'm relying on you guys for that.
For this particular property for December, and she has estimated the amount of water that appears to be in the building. She can testify as to that. The emergency services manager for the county is here. She is indicating that she has, between her and the sheriff's department, the United Way, they have been able to find alternative housing for the people that were in the building, and that it is fairly costly.
Yeah, as I indicated, I ordered it without any provision for who was going to pay for it, which is in part why it was a temporary order. So I appreciate the fact that everybody has been at least temporarily relocated. And I don't understand the current state of affairs on the ground there at Millrace Landing. Mr. Van Eck, can you enlighten me some?
I can, Your Honor. The first pipes occurred on Monday, December 26th. My client immediately had plumbing people come in. They contacted a number of different plumbing companies, and as a result ended up with Parker Arts, which is a local company but a state-based large company. And they are in doing the work now. They had that come in on an emergency basis and simply said, get to it, get it fixed. It's the hope and anticipation that today the west side will be fully functional with heat, with plumbing all repaired. Water pipes have all . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . That was the largest damage area. They started there first. So it's the hope that the smaller damaged area will be finished tomorrow,
How many units are in this complex?
30.
And how many are on the east end?
Okay, there's 12 and 12. It's divided equally east and west, 12 units on one side, 12 units on the other, which gets us 24.
And six
Where-
in front?
Where are those?
24 total.
24
I'm
units,
sorry.
not. Okay. All right. I was told that the heat was off. What was the reason for the heat not working?
It's a boiler heat system serviced by water. And when the water was turned off and pipes froze, there's a problem with the boiler system.
I was also told that the boiler had not been inspected, that was an issue with the current status of that heat system.
The, I'm not real familiar with boiler oil candor, but my
Well, that makes
client,
two of us.
my client advises that they have a state inspection that occurs. The state sets the re-inspection. The state certificate that is on the boiler has expired. My client has contacted the state, and they simply indicated that they will be there when they are. I know from other buildings that I'm involved with that certifications were difficult to come by because of shutdown with COVID and everything else. I'm not sure if that's the situation here, but I know that's a common thing that we've seen. We've been able in other buildings to get private contractors to do it, but I'm not sure if that's available in this building or not.
Is there a remediation company like Servpro or somebody in there vacuuming water or drying the carpets or that sort of thing?
I don't think they're gonna start that until
That was
there
done
is.
on Monday.
Will they start Monday?
Which company is
They
doing that?
started
It
Monday.
was done on Monday,
It was done on Monday.
Who's doing that?
yeah. Crystal Carpet Care.
From the photographs, it looked like large pieces of carpeting had been cut out. And I saw some blowers or heaters on the floor. That's from Crystal Carpet. All right, nobody's under oath here. I'm just trying to get the feel of what the current circumstance is. All right, and as far as you know, all residents have either voluntarily been placed with family or friends or otherwise housed, and there's no one in the building at this point.
We believe that to be true, but again, people do what they do.
Yes. Well, when I thought about my ability to issue this order, I said, well, what if a train derailed next door with ammonia gas in it? And ammonia was going to be all through the area under emergency orders. People could be removed from their housing. Or there was a gas leak and a spark could set it off and blow the whole place up. And so there needed to be some attention paid to it right then. As I indicated, my concern was there was no fire suppression and the possibility of fire. So here we are, everybody's out. The plaintiff obviously has concerns on behalf of the village and on behalf of the residents. The defendant, Centerville Investments for mill race, wants to get this place back up and running and their tenants back in place and continue collecting their rents and provide housing for people. So why don't you have a seat, Mr. Van Eck? And Ms. Seeber, what is the village asking for?
Your Honor, there has been a very big disconnect between how bad this situation is and the response. Mr. Kuhlman has and is prepared to provide a video of somebody's roof in one of these apartments with water pouring out of it. This isn't just an easy fix. So the next thing is if you have had a plumbing company in there doing things like replacing pipes, and we told them yesterday they needed a permit, no permits have been pulled. All of the electricity that is wet under the International Property Maintenance Code, which is part of the state construction code, it has to be replaced. So unfortunately, this is not going to be a quick fix.
Well, the unspoken word here is mold.
And there's photos of that.
All right, so your contention is there's remediation that needs to be done and it isn't gonna be easy or cheap.
That's correct.
So what are you asking the court to do?
To, first of all, prohibit people.
Okay, so I'm kind of confused. The concern is for mold, but the pipe just burst. You really can't get a lot of visible mold showing and within 24 hours. So that makes me think that there may have been a slow leak of some sort, or it's just they didn't have enough like a dehumidifier to help remove all that moisture. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. And by the way, I have not seen this part. We're already past where I was at before, so I have no idea what's being said at this point.
People from living in there, prohibit the defendant from allowing people to live in there, require them to get their permits, get their inspections, and undertake the necessary repairs, which means replacing the wet electric, replacing the carpet that's been pulled out, getting the permits for the plumbing, getting the boiler inspected and verified, and repairing all the water.
So yeah, the concern could be for the future that there's mold, especially without heat. But I believe she said that there's already mold. I'm pretty sure that's what she said. That there was already mold, so that would lead me to believe that there is something else going on.
Water damage, of which there's a good amount.
Well, all that certainly makes sense, but it leaves out the tenants. I'm ordering everybody out of their house. Many of these units are subsidized and they pay a portion of the rent and the government pays the rest. So that's all sounds great, except if you're a tenant who all your worldly possessions are there and your pet is there, and I say you can't live there, but I don't give you any money to do anything else. So go to the homeless shelter, sleep on the couch at your.
Okay, the fact that he just said it's like low income housing, so they get it's called Section 8 here in Michigan. So if this is basically a Section 8 housing apartment, unfortunately, they're pretty notorious for not having the best maintenance and upkeep. And I don't know this apartment owner. I don't know the company. I'm just saying in general in Michigan, when it's Section 8 housing, it's not necessarily, if it was a regular apartment building where you're paying more, buildings get taken care of better. But again, that's my opinion. I don't know. I don't know these people. I've never been to this building, so I have no idea. Just my opinion.
Your kid's house, do something else. What about the tenants? I'm ordering that they be placed out of their homes without any provision for their care and welfare.
Your Honor, the reason that we asked for the order was that the sheriff's department was willing and able to find temporary housing for these people, but was unwilling to do that without a court order. So
Thank you,
knowing that they
Tony
were
V, for
available, they were
joining
gonna
us.
be
I
able to come in
appreciate
and
that.
find temporary housing, we needed the order in order to be able to do that. It's my understanding, and I believe the reason the tenants are here is that they are glad that someone finally did something about it. They don't want.
Jamie, I hate to say that, but that is likely the reason why. They do know that they can't really do anything. They can't afford lawyers, well, they could get legal aid help, but likely not. So unfortunately, that is a reality with a lot of low income housing. I wish it weren't that way because everyone should be treated fairly, whether or not you're poor, you're disabled, you're whatever. this makes me, a woke leftist liberal. I think everyone really should get sort of the basic same human rights. So affordable, good housing, food, that kind of stuff. That shouldn't be a struggle for folks.
Want to be living in these conditions. We brought it to the attention of the court and to the property manager, and,
I'm old, Chris. I'm old. I don't think I'm that old. I mean, I'm a very young Gen X. So, yeah, definitely the profit margins are not there. You are correct.
while on the one hand, they may want to go back to their houses, they want it to be safe. And as it is right now with water and electricity, it's not safe. The pets are still in there. It's my understanding that Mr. Kuhlman and the emergency medical director have arranged to have people be transported back to this apartment complex in order to be able to come in and take care of their pets if they could not take them with them. It's an unfortunate situation. I get it, but
Well,
I
how
think,
many pets are we talking about?
I'm gonna say there's probably 6 to 10.
Dogs or cats or both?
The only thing that I saw was dogs.
All right, so I certainly understand the concerns with it. Temporary is a word fraught with danger. My temporary was overnight. And so if I condemn this building or prohibit occupancy, that's not very temporary. And if you're a tenant and your rent is $162 a month and the government pays the rest, you don't have any place to go. And that is a concern, to be sure. But Mr. Kuhlman presented me with a case last summer where a man was I don't even know how to describe it.
Hey, Chris. I hope you enjoy your dinner. Hope it's something very yummy. And thank you for joining today. I really appreciate it.
He was living in a house with no roof on it. He was paying the VA or somebody was paying $450 a month, and he was sleeping on a couch with no roof. And that was for him better than other options.
That is
By the same
fucking
token,
criminal. That
we've
is
had other
so not
cases
okay.
where we have ordered people out, and then the properties have burned. 2 children were killed and died in a property that we had ordered nobody to live in. And so it is a real concern.
Yeah. That's not okay. Like, that's beyond not okay. Like, that's straight up criminal. Like, seriously, people should be spending time in jail for allowing stuff like that to happen, because that is a lack of maintenance. That is a lack of on the owner, on the managers. That actually makes me really, really angry, because it's preventable death that could have been prevented. Sorry, I can't get it to play.
Concern. So my point is, for some of these people living in a soggy apartment with no
Thanks
water,
for the bark box
might be a better
addiction.
alternative than having nowhere to go. So that's really the underlying concern. It's obvious this needs to be repaired, and it's not going to be a simple fix. And frankly, the fact that they're in there on an emergency basis trying to fix the pipes, I'm not concerned that they didn't get an immediate permit. This needed to be done. They called some companies, and to their credit, they got in and started doing it. But at some point, it's going to need to be permitted. But I don't criticize the defendant for starting the work that needed to be done. Mr. Van Eck?
Thank you. Well, I understand the permitting idea. Not everything needs to be permitted. Repairs typically aren't permitted. Certain areas of repair do require permits, but not all repairs. And that is, we have a licensed contractor who knows those rules well. They're well versed in those rules. And I'm sure that if something requires a permit, they will step in and get that permit. And there's a boiler company doing it as well. So the idea that permits are required for everything that's being done, I don't know that that's accurate.
I don't know whether they are or not, but at some point, if they are, they'll be obtained.
So, yeah, sorry about that. The whole issue with permits, I don't think they are required for an emergency basis, like trying to stop turning the water off, trying to get the water to stop, fixing that, and then like obviously with electric work, trying to get it dry. I can ask my father, he might know better. My dad's a retired master electrician. So I can ask him because I am not sure. And if it's a law that for like emergencies, you need to get a permit first, that's a law that we need to change in Michigan. We need to get it so that if that's the law, make it so that it's not required like immediately after the issues. I don't know. It's something I definitely have to look into more.
Well, what is your client want? What do you want me to do?
We have a couple of rules that we're dealing with. Number one, my client is working feverishly to get the property back ready and to a level that it needs to operate on, and I suspect better. But the rule that we're operating under currently with a landlord-tenant relationship is a word called habitability. And when the apartment or the unit gets back to a position of being habitable, that's at the time when the tenants are able to move back in. Now, that word is broad, and I certainly understand it. It's a very broad word, and it's open to interpretation. But if there's a tear in the carpet or a cut in the carpet, I don't know that that does it. Certainly potable water is a requirement, and in this time of year, heat's a requirement, whereas in the summer it wouldn't be. But certainly potable water and the heat operating and protection from electrical shock or fires. And I think that, as I understand the pleadings that I've read, is that the concern there was strictly limited to the temporary heaters that were plugged in there. I think the court mentioned electrical heaters that could have some water concern. I will indicate that those are being monitored by the contractors and by my clients. So while they didn't see the emergency, I suspect sitting back at a 30,000 foot view, it certainly would appear that way. I understood that that is the electrical concern. If that's removed because the heat's turned back on, I think that's gone. So if we look at the list of concerns that resulted, potable water, bursting water pipes, that's already happened, that's done. Flooding has already happened, it appears that that's done. Electrical dangers, I think that's a result of the space heaters, and then of course the use of space heaters. I don't think there's anything wrong with using a space heater. The connection was between the water and the space heater. So it looks like the issue that we're really talking about that are of concern and danger that this court was concerned about is potable water, bursting water pipes, which is done, flooding. And although I don't think it's mentioned in the initial list, I think the concern is heat. Is the boiler working so that the units are hot or warm? Those are the concerns. There will probably be things that are ongoing for a period of time, and with the limitation of sometimes drywall labor, maybe getting carpeting materials or flooring materials, that's going to take more time. And for the tenants to be put out and for the apartment complex to be shut down, to us, we don't think that that's compliant or consistent with the law of habitability. But certainly the boiler heat, the water, free from flooding, and electrical concerns, which I think are mostly cured or going to be cured. I would anticipate no later than the end of this week, at least that's my client's belief.
Okay, so this attorney is actually bringing up really great points. The livability, right? That makes a lot of sense. There's going to be carpet need to be repaired, drywall needs to be repaired. But I'm wondering if they can get the electricity cleared and the water cleared and the heat going, are the tenants able to live there during repairs? Or is this a case where, like with Judge Simpson, we had that nightmare bathroom case, right? Is this landlord going to be required to put them up in a hotel temporarily when they make these repairs? I'm not familiar with a lot of landlord tenant law. If there are any landlord tenant um, attorneys out there, I would love to have you on. We could talk about this more because I think this is very important for anyone that rents. These are good questions to know and well, to have the answers for.
I think the need for the injunction doesn't exist. There may be other things that pop up, but, and other things that need to be dealt with, but the Landlord-Tenant Relationships Act gives the tenants a specific authority to withhold rent and to do things on their side. And that's really best left in that contract dispute, not in a dispute with the government. I also note that when I look at the ordinance that's in play for a property that is under a calamity, which certainly this is that circumstance, that they provide a 30-day to give notice and then 30 days for a right to cure. I certainly understand the circumstance is different, in that you needed to get the tenants out and the dangers that the court's already referenced. But once those dangers are gone, if we're to follow with the village ordinance, which was used to bring this action, we at least, I think, should have 30 days in order to get most of those repairs completed. And that's if they would even constitute nuisance under the village ordinance, which is what we have to operate under here. So I would think that once the initial things that cause the TRO, which is potable water, the electrical with the temporary space heaters and the heat are resolved, then at that point, the injunction is done. And if there's other civil things that go on, other complaints or things aren't done correctly, that's handled through the contract rights of the parties, or through other remedies available to anybody who wants to step their foot in the circle or their hat in the ring.
There's a lot, as I said, of uncertainty here about, I wasn't even clear how many units there were. Is there someone here, Ms. Goff, can you testify as to how many people were relocated last night?
Approximately.
Could you come up into the witness box, please? Would you please raise your right hand? Can you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief? Thank you. Please have a seat. Would you state your name?
Erin Goff,
What's your position?
I'm the Director of Emergency Services, and I function as the Emergency Manager for St. Joseph County. I work for the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Office.
And you've been present during these proceedings this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Were you one of the people that was involved in attempting to deal with my temporary restraining order yesterday afternoon?
Yes, sir.
And were you attempting to find alternate housing for the tenants of this complex?
Yes, sir. May I expand on that a little bit?
Yes, please.
As the emergency manager, one of my jobs is to handle emergency sheltering for multiple people. So that would be things that we would consider emergencies. This would fall into that strictly because there were multiple units involved. And so I was asked to look into setting up an emergency shelter for overnight sheltering with the American Red Cross and the United Way.
And what happened?
The American Red Cross did come. We communicated with them for several hours. Unfortunately, when the representatives came, they were notified after they had already kind of started there and talking with us that because it was flooding and not a fire, it didn't qualify for the type of funding that they had anticipated, and that they were not able to assist us with either setting up an overnight shelter for mass sheltering or individual assistance, which is what they would typically do in something like a fire.
How many residents were you attempting to find housing for?
Well, anyone who was there, obviously, we wanted, we knocked on all 24 doors. Some doors did not get answered. I believe there were 6 units that were housed overnight at the Super 8 in Three Rivers. That was with some emergency funding through the United Way. And that is for last night, Wednesday night, off on my days, for last night and tonight. So that's a 2-day temporary emergency housing. So when we
Okay, sorry, Fritz is barking. But I want to point out here that the United Way stepped in, but the Red Cross didn't. That's a problem. Sorry, I have my microphone on the laptop. So that's a problem. I have been watching this channel called the Illuminati, like Naughty. I'll have to put the link once this is finished uploading. I'll put the link in the description. And she actually covers sort of how the Red Cross is not who they say they are and how they've become rather problematic. And normally I don't want to say anything bad about like an NGO volunteer organization, but I've been seeing a decline with the Red Cross over my almost 42 years. So I'll say the last 30 years, since I've been adultish. But I did want to point that out, that the Red Cross didn't help at all. And that's literally what they are there for. And that's really bad. It's a bad look.
when we talk about that temporary sheltering and housing, that's the 2-day time frame. And then after that, hopefully we can figure out land.
But right now, there's no funding that you're aware of to house at least those 6 residents.
Not after tomorrow.
Is it 6 people or 6 units?
6 units. Some of the units have more than 1 person.
And as for the other 18 units, do you know what the status of those? tenants
Everyone
is?
that we were able to make contact with, may I look at my phone? I have a list on my phone. We were able to make contact with most of the people. There were several, like I said, that we weren't able to have contact with the resident. Many of them were residents that were able to stay with family members or another place, friends. It's difficult for them because they don't know how long it is, so that makes it challenging. Some of them may end up needing assistance after that. We were also able to get 2 residents into independent living at Thurston Woods. They were kind enough to share one of their locations with that. So
So you have 6 at the.
I believe
Super
we have
Hotel
6.
and
There,
two at Thurston Woods.
and there were, yes, and there were a few who it seemed like had, when they said that they were gonna stay elsewhere, that they had secured a hotel either in Sturgis or in Three Rivers. But again, not everyone gave us all their details. They just said that they would be out.
You're not under oath at this point, but our veterans advocate and administrator, Stoney Summy, is here. Did you place any veterans?
I did not, Your Honor, but we were discussing if there was a need. I do have some available housing.
All right, we may come to you
6.
also. We have a lot of good people in this county and a lot of resources and people that are willing to step up. But this can't continue indefinitely. So the plan was to get those people out, find housing, and the others that apparently found it on their own. Were any of these 24 units empty?
One of them was.
So we have 23 units occupied. What do you know about pets?
In this instance, I believe there are 6 dogs. There are 2 residents who are at the Super 8 who had to leave their dogs. We were able to work out with the transportation authority. They picked them up from the hotel this morning, brought them over to the apartment complex to take care of the dogs, and then brought them back to the hotel. Ideally, it would be good to get them into a situation, depending on how long this is going to go, where they could take the dogs, because it is not ideal to have dogs at animal control under these circumstances.
There was some discussion of moving some of these pets to animal control. I assume some of the tenants saw that as doggy jail and perhaps didn't want their animals to go there, but.
I mean, they would like to make sure that their dogs are safe and cared for, and so
Well,
that's our concern. I mean, obviously, the dogs can't stay in the unattended apartment complex, so I have discussed that with the sheriff, and He said that we can make some sheltering arrangements for the animals if
We-
necessary.
Another one of our resources is an excellent animal control facility and staff.
May I say one more thing?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, we had reached out to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services because many of the residents are receiving assistance from MDHHS. They had an adult protective services worker go to the complex this morning to try to make contact with anybody who might be there. They indicated that there is some housing assistance that they can provide if they open cases on the individual people who are in these units. There was some difficulty. The list that I have does not have contact information or names for everyone because we did not make contact with everyone. We attempted to, but that would be something perhaps that could be looked into and provided to the adult services so that anyone who's in need of funding for that.
Is
housing.
anyone here from Adult PS?
I think they were still trying to make contact with everybody. There was only one caseworker who was doing that this afternoon, and there are several units, and she's done it 4 o'clock for the holiday weekend.
Is anyone here from the health department? Also seem like the area agency on aging, they are here. Thank you. So any questions anyone has for Director Goff?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. Could you come up from the area agency on aging? Thank you for being here. Trying to get an understanding of what our resources are. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief? Would you have a seat and state your name?
My name is Tony Laughlin. I'm the Elder Abuse Victim Specialist with the Area Agency on Aging 3C for St. Joe County.
Could you spell your name for us?
Sure. It's Tony, Toni. Last name is Laughlin, Laughlin.
Thank you for being here. What resources does your agency have to assist in this regard?
We do victim services. So obviously anybody who's 60 or older or vulnerable adult, we would be able to help with some type of emergency relocation funds.
I just wanted to introduce Fritz to you guys. I hope you can see him. He is also a dash hound. He's my retired service dog. Oh. He also enjoys the bark box as well. He actually loves the toys just about as much as the treats. So I just wanted to introduce him. You guys don't get to see him that often.
But I do have to have each person consent to participation. So that was hard. I was the one who reached out originally to Doug because of the concerns while I was visiting another client there. So I did not make contact with all the tenants, but felt that it was something that needed to be addressed immediately.
All right, so your name is in some of the pleadings I received. You were there yesterday visiting a client.
Yep, I was going to check on a client that had nothing to do with the situation. And I talked to a previous client. I have had several there.
What did you see when you got there yesterday?
Originally, I just seen all of the construction material just piled up outside the front door. And I was met by an old client in the parking lot who showed me videos of the flooding occurring. Then she let me into the building where we continued to see exposed electrical insulation all over the carpet, just very unsafe conditions, and it was cold. There's no heat in the building. Some of them were at like 52 degrees. As I continued to talk with the one client, I had several other tenants approach me who were giving me kind of a statement of what was going on. Some people had water flowing from the range hood in their apartment, and they were afraid to turn it on because of electricity and water. There's significant damage in one of the apartments from the water, and in that apartment, the carpet was still in there, and there was 3 of those heaters blowing and a dehumidifier all in this wet apartment.
So you were the one that actually called the officer. Who did you call? Central Dispatch?
I tried calling the
Okay, I just want to point out, Walter, you said Debbie Davis, she's actually, I don't believe she's here. This is not a criminal matter. This is a PPO order, so a personal protective order, non-domestic. Obviously, it's the landlord. And I'm not exactly sure why you would get a restraining order. Like I said, I'm not familiar with landlord-tenant law. But yeah, so Debbie Davis is not here. I did not see her or hear her. I don't even think there's a prosecutor there, just because it's an emergency ex parte hearing for a restraining order for a PPO.
In the village after talking to the community health department, but the village is closed on Wednesdays. So then I tried DPW and I couldn't get in touch with anybody, and I just happened to come across code enforcement and reach out to him to see who I could talk to or discuss the situation, given that seemed emergent at the time and a lot of the tenants were very upset.
Good for you. All right. Have any tenants started the process with you of finding alternative housing?
They have not, because I made the call to Doug at about 12:50, I think, yesterday. And I was held up with another client until almost 5 o'clock, but I kept in communication with some of my previous clients to kind of let me know what was going on. They had found alternate housing and I didn't have contact for any other of the tenants. So as soon as I got Doug's report this morning, when I came into the office around 8, I reached out to some more clients. They told me about the hearing, so I figured I'd come and see what assistance I could give and reach out to anybody who needs assistance at this point.
All right, thank you for being here. And do you have any questions for this witness?
Just a couple. This is elderly housing, correct?
It was elderly housing. From what I know from the situation is that Place Management took over in January of this year as the new management company. According to them, they did not know it was a 55+ community when they purchased it, so it no longer is. But I would say that probably at least 80% of the tenants there are of a senior community, and it's no longer.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense why the Office of Aging is involved. That has been happening a lot in Michigan, where like facilities, apartments, trailer parks, whatever. Sorry, not trailer parks, mobile home communities. They've all been 55 old plus, and with the decline in the number of elderly folks in the U.S. as happens, they've actually had to open up to allow basically any age group in. Otherwise, stuff just sits vacant. So that does make a lot more sense now that this is, or at least was, in a senior apartment facility.
No longer subsidized. Some people do have USDA vouchers to kind of help compensate for the rental, especially since the rent has increased over the past year. But there is no subsidized housing there.
Okay, and there's, are there children? Did you happen to notice if there's any children in there?
There are some children. I've seen them on previous visits. They are from the new tenants that live there. And one of the tenants that I talked to yesterday briefly had a newborn. And he said that part of the concern was that when he was asked what he should do for no water and no heat, he was told that at least he had a roof over his head. So he was very concerned.
Okay, that statement right there is extremely problematic. I want to know who told the father of a newborn baby that at least he has a roof over his head. Like that is awful. That makes me want to throat punch people. You don't do that, especially with a newborn, when it might be 50 degrees today, but it's also likely to drop down to the single digits tomorrow because, hello, it's Michigan. That really makes me mad. Oh, I'm sorry. I might be smiling, but I'm not happy. That's frustrating.
Concerned about how he was supposed to handle taking care of an infant in these conditions.
And your employer, I guess, can handle if people request it from you. You can open a case as long as they're 60 or over,
Mhm.
and you can hopefully at some point find some alternative housing for them if they volunteer.
Yes, if they're willing to participate with our agency, we can assist with them. It does take a little bit of time, but in emergency situations, we can tend to escalate it a little bit. Most of it would probably be hotel, as the shelters are full and there's really no other place to have anyone go to in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Van Eyck?
Thank you. You indicate that 80% of the tenants are elderly. Have you done a calculation of that, or where do you get that information?
There was only about, I believe, 5 units available when Place Management took over to renovate. So in the course of me being there and seeing that I had 5 clients that we had issues with rental agreements and stipulations. There was multiple seniors. It was a senior community before they bought it. So if there's only 5 units that are available, those can only be 5 people that weren't from that senior community originally. They've maintained all the tenants from the previous.
So you're extrapolating that from what you've seen. You don't have any direct head count.
No, I mean, I haven't done the calculations.
The contracts, you said there's nobody in the units that are subsidized any longer?
There is no subsidized apartments in this company.
And so the people that are in there,
Okay, I am really getting like douchebaggery slumlord vibes from this attorney. Like, did you do the calculations? What the hell? Like, it's like 20 apartments, I think they said. It's like a small complex, small building. And it's easy to sort of do a guesstimation. Like, I don't know. I don't like this guy. I don't know. I just know I don't like him. At first I thought he was okay, but now he's like, oh, did you know how many there is? That irritates the heck out of me.
in there, if they don't pay rent, they have those resources to help themselves as well. Or they have a rent.
Well, everybody pays rent. A few people have USDA vouchers that compensate for maybe $140 towards their rent, but they still pay a significant amount of rent. The rent ranges from $595 up to $799, depending on when you came into, like if you're a recent tenant, your rent is $799. Most of my participants that were there a couple months ago are in the.
Yeah, so I agree. Thorlini, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And DJ Tommy, yes. They just bought out this complex recently, so I'm assuming it's a bigger management company now. That seems to be a trend. But it definitely seems like they don't really care. I thought this guy was nice in the beginning, and not anymore. He's, I don't know. I don't like the tone. I can tell you that much. I do not like the tone and the line of questioning that this attorney is doing. They're not subsidized. So the whole complex is, and she actually clarified, it's not that the tenants are not subsidized. It's that the new company doesn't have the, like, I don't know, permission or whatever for being a subsidized unit. So yeah, pointing that out, that's a big scumbag maneuver,
In the $595 to $695.
in my opinion. Apparently, in my opinion, this is turning into kind of more of a slumlord case.
Range for rent. So they do get a little bit of a help, but they still pay a significant amount of that rent.
Okay, I guess my point is if they don't pay it, they have that money then to do something like.
Well, all of them should have paid their rent by now because it's a holiday weekend and they don't do anything on a holiday. They don't extend it and they get late fees. So most of
My question to you is you're giving a lot of facts.
Mhm.
And it sounds like a lot of those facts are based on maybe experience or general beliefs about what are going on, but you're not involved in the management. You maybe have done a review of the rental rates between $500 and $799, but do you have any direct knowledge on these? Have you?
We absolutely do.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is straight douchebaggery. Like, dude, this is an emergency situation. The pipes broke. There's flooding. There's no heat. The electricity has to be shut off. And now you're shitting on a caseworker, like, from the state of Michigan? Like, seriously, what the fuck, dude? This is not the person you want to be, I don't know, hostile with or a jackass to. This is a person literally trying to help accommodate the residents, get them temporary housing, which in turn would help your client because somehow your client is gonna end up being responsible and having to pay for all of this stuff. Like, seriously, what the fuck? This, I hope, well, I don't hope. I know Judge Middleton is going to handle this beautifully in the end, but it's extremely frustrating to watch this. Like, I don't know.
I had 5 cases with 5 tenants from that apartment complex that I had to bring in place management on several occasions to have meetings with the tenants to address concerns about issues with their leases specifically, including the amount of that rent.
Okay. And out of,
Okay, so yes, an entire complex can be subsidized. I don't know how to. So through Lena, she said they said in the comment, sometimes the facility is subsidized, sometimes only a few units, and sometimes there are vouchers they can accept. And that's correct. The building, before it was bought out, it was a fully subsidized complex, is what my understanding from the hearing. So it was. Now that the new owner is there, they are not subsidized. So, but they're still obviously taking vouchers or whatever subsidy payments from the state. So that still doesn't make sense as to why this attorney is going balls to the walls on the lady from the state. Like, oh, it's not subsidized, whatever. Dude, that's not what this case is about. That is totally not what this hearing is for. I am so frustrated right now with this guy. He just needs to stop.
of the 5 cases that you've done, how many have you placed in there since place management took over?
None.
When's the last time you were in the apartment complex?
Yesterday,
Okay, did you walk inside?
absolutely did.
And what was the condition that you saw when you walked inside? Still workers working?
There was nobody from management and no workers. That was also part of the concern because the tenants were wondering why there was no one there on a Wednesday to deal with it. And were concerned that going into the holiday weekend, they didn't know what was going to be resolved or how safe it was.
Okay. What did you see the condition? Were there still construction materials laying around?
There was outside the building. There was the space heaters where the carpet had been pulled up in the main area. There was a huge section of one of the walls that was taking out the drywall. The insulation was hanging out. The wires were exposed. There was insulation, blown insulation from, I'm assuming, the attic because there was a hole in.
Okay, this lady so just handed this attorney his ass. That was like perfect. There's no one there that's concerned we're going into the holiday weekend. She just showed up, and that was definitely deserving of a mic drop.
Hole in the ceiling that was all over the carpet.
So it appears somebody's working on it. They weren't when you were there.
Correct.
And what time were you there on Wednesday?
I was there at 11:30.
And how long were you there?
I was there for about an hour.
But there were materials that clearly drywall's been taken down and removed, holes cut in the ceiling, materials laying outside. So somebody appears to be working.
Absolutely. The concern more was that we had seniors who were running out of water. The management company did bring.
Sorry about that, guys. Luna wanted up, and she made me hit the table. Now we get to see the chief habitual user of BarkBox. She's giving me side eye. Sorry. All right, let's get back to this real quick.
They bring in 1 liter gallons of water, 1 gallon containers for them, but they're using 2 of those just to flush their toilets.
Okay, and your
So-
concern's fair. I'm not fighting with you or disputing you on that. My point is, or I guess my question is,
He totally is fighting her on that. I mean, he's been a jackass this whole, like, basically the whole time with her. So, yeah, like, dude, seriously, this is so irritating.
if we get the water fixed and the heat fixed and the water cleaned up, what I mean by that is it's not wet around there and the concerns about electrical and all that are gone, will it be safe enough then for them to move back in? It's not perfect and they'll have to deal with the landlord on further repairs, but are they safe enough then to move back into their home with their stuff?
Yes, I would think so, as long as the electrical is, I guess, inspected and approved, because a lot of it is wet. So
Okay,
that's a concern too.
And there's gonna be water issues and electrical we need to work with, but if those things are resolved, you think it's safe enough for your clients to move back here?
As long as they feel comfortable, yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. You can step down. Ms. Thibodeau, would you come up, please? Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief. Have a seat if you would, and would you state and spell your first and last name?
My name is Michelle Thibodeau, Michelle Thibideau. I am the village director of public works, and I'm also the village clerk.
So she's a lady with all the
Are you familiar
answers.
with this building that we're talking about?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times, 2 times, yeah. We used to do meter reads inside the building. But we since placed drive-by meters, so I don't go in often.
Well, yesterday when Officer Coolman was here to swear the affidavit, you indicated that you had turned the water off to the building at the street, so.
Okay, so yeah, that attorney is still being a good attorney, quote unquote. Sorry. But the thing is he's really arguing for the wrong reason. I mean, sorry about that. Like he's picking the wrong hill to die on, as the saying goes. There's no reason to be hostile with the state of Michigan, who's trying to help get everything set up. So I'm literally like reducing how much the landlord's going to end up paying for rehousing. So he might be a wonderful attorney, but he's just an asshole in this situation.
The village has turned off the water to this building.
That is correct.
And is it still off as far as you know?
No, we turned the water back on at the street, so the plumbers could see where the leaks were happening and do the work that needed to be done.
Did you see the active pipes leaking?
Just on video this time.
This time? Had there been a previous time?
Yeah, back, I guess it was about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, there was an incident that the fire suppression line broke, and we got called in on a Sunday morning. And when we got there, there's probably a foot of water throughout the building. And we had to go in and shut the water off.
Okay, so that means this has been. Sorry, Fritz. Sorry about that. This has apparently been a problem in the past. So now I'm wondering, did they not do appropriate repairs? did they just do temporary measures last time and now those measures have failed? So that could be a problem. I can understand the new company kind of being not happy about that. But the thing is they would have known all this, or they should have known all of this when they bought the building. So, but yeah, the fact that it happened, and it is Michigan, like you said, it's an older building. Pipes break, freeze thaws, bust pipes in Michigan all the time. So I don't know, but honestly, I'm not surprised though that the buildings had issues before. And I mean, they have issues even like in brand new builds. So yeah. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Was that from a freeze and thaw?
Yes,
And it wasn't the residential water source, it was the fire suppression pipes that burst.
that's correct.
I've been handed this.
Okay, so no, the fire suppression pipe. So this is a different pipe that broke this time. So not really relevant. Unless it's just to speak to how the township is handling this situation this time around compared to last time.
Document data log from 12/29/22 at 10:29 a.m. That would have been run this morning. What am I looking at here? You got one of those in your hand?
Yes.
You got one?
Yeah, I do. I just asked that it be marked,
All right,
that the court's gonna
fair
review.
enough. We'll mark this as plaintiff's exhibit number.
So this is our catalog of our water meters. And it dates back to, we did a 10-day review of their meter. We can catalog a meter up to every 15 minutes. We did do a 6 hours, so every 6 hours, we go from today at 8:56 a.m. and we went back to 12:19 for every 6 hours, and it gives us usage. So you can kind of see that on the 19th, they use about 200 gallons.
Okay, so Jamie said it was very relevant because of the building being inhabitable. I can see that now, like she's talking about comparing the water main or the water meter usage from today or yesterday compared to what happened 4 years ago. So that makes a little bit more sense as it being relevant. It definitely gives like a history to set like I don't know. It sets a baseline for it. That's what I think.
And then the next 6 hours, it was 100 gallons. Then you see on 12:22 at 2:56 to 12:22 at 8:56 at night. Nope, take that back. 8:56 a.m. to 2:56 p.m. on the 26th, they used 1,900 gallons, which indicate that they had a water break of some sort.
On 12/22.
Correct.
Okay.
And it appears that they
Okay, so yeah, there is no active fire suppression. That's because they have the water turned off to the entire building because they believe it was one of the main pipes that broke. So yeah, there is no active fire suppression, but it's because of the emergency situation with the pipe bursting.
they probably fixed it somewhere, because the next 6 hours, their usage went back to 700. But appears maybe they had another break during the next 6 hours because their usage went to 1,500 gallons. Looks like maybe they repaired it. And then they returned back to normal usage. Looks like until 12:26, and then at 2:56 a.m. Anywhere in between there and 8:56 a.m. they had another break. They went up to 1,800 gallons. And then at that point, it kind of looks like maybe the water got turned off on 12/26 or froze or whatever, because we never shut the water off until 12/28.
You mentioned it was also shut off in the mechanical room. So it then shut off internally in the building and then the village shut it off at the street.
We shut it off in both places. I wasn't real confident.
Okay. Oh no, hold on.
These cooking techniques.
Sorry about that. Let me fix this. So yeah, there's a problem that now it sounds like there was 2 breaks, which is extremely problematic. How do I get back to this? Hold on. I apologize, guys. I hate that. I hit the wrong. Sorry. Okay. I hate that. I hit the wrong thing. So let me get that fixed. But yeah, no, it's problematic. With, you know, the fire suppression system, like that was.
Martha, Jill, everyone else, Javier?
Okay, sorry. Now I gotta back up to where we were. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where we were at. Definitely past the familiar guy. Okay. Anyways, yeah, there's problems with. Hey Nathan, thanks. I hope you have an awesome New Year's Eve too. So yeah, now it sounds like there was 2 separate breaks. So that is also now that's an even bigger problem than it was 20 seconds ago to us. Okay. Hopefully this is where we were at.
Mr. Sunday, as long as you're here, let's find out what resources you have available. Stoney, would you come forward, please?
Okay, no, I gotta back up a little bit more.
Just rough guessing, look at your bar graph, 200 to 300 gallons.
Okay.
Do you know what?
Do you know?
Well, so I got a call from Central Dispatch yesterday stating that a resident had called and had water running through the floorboard.
Okay.
So I sent.
You, Ms. Seaver?
Just, where is that?
Maybe the water got turned off.
Okay, close enough. Close enough there.
On 12/26 or froze or whatever, because we never shut the water off until 12/28.
You mentioned it was also.
Okay, that was actually really
mechanical room.
almost spot on.
So
I'm
then
proud
shut
of
off
myself for that
internally in the
one.
building, and then the village shut it off at the street.
We shut it off in both places. I wasn't real confident that shutting it off just in the mechanical room. I wasn't confident leaving, so we proceeded to shut it off outside as well.
So it looks like there were 3 separate incidents, one on 12/22, one on 12/23, and one on 12/26, which resulted in excessive water use.
That's correct.
And the water is back on, and as far as you know, licensed plumbers are there addressing the problem.
It's back on at the street. I don't know if they've turned it on inside the mechanical room. But the plumbers will do that as needed.
All right, does this raise questions for you, Ms. Seaver?
Just, where does that water go? Do you know?
Well, so I got a call from Central Dispatch yesterday stating that a resident had called and had water running through the floorboard. So I sent one of my employees out to shut the water off, and he got there. He said that the water was running from the laundry room, and it was swirling around from the ceilings, and it was swirling going into a drain into the laundry room.
So is it a single story building?
Yes.
Have you ever had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Moyer?
Oh.
Thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Bennett?
Thank you. Looking at the First of all, looking at the first page, there's an indication of water usage on December 28th. It looks like it's between, just rough guessing, look at your bar graph, 200 to 300 gallons. Do you know what that use would be from? That was today, right?
12/28.
Yeah,
I don't, and you also had a negative 100 gallons, which also concerns me.
okay.
Okay, so now I know I'm way louder. The more water usage going is maybe they turn the water back on to see if they like try to temporarily fix. So they'd have to turn the water back on
And
to
then
test it.
On 12/27 at
Sorry. But the negative water pressure thing or what usage, that kind of makes it sound like maybe their meter is off. They may need to get that looked at and make sure that is actually accurate. Because I know residential, they have you a couple times a year, you have to go and compare your meter readings to what the utility company sends you. So I'm wondering if it was just a fluke or if maybe there's something off with the meter itself. But yeah, questioning about water being turned back on, like this attorney's still screaming bad vibes to me.
at 8:56 p.m. Looks like there was some usage. And then again at 2:56 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. And
That
then
was that before you shut the water off at the street?
We never shut the water off until yesterday, 12/29 or 12/28.
so from 12:26 to 12:28, you had not shut the water off?
No.
Okay. And then since shutting the water off, has there been any water usage that you're seeing?
No.
Okay, so just like I thought, there was.
But you've turned it back on?
They hadn't had the water turned off yet, so they must have somehow someone stopped it in the building. I mean, honestly, it's not hard to turn a water main off in a building. You literally just turn a valve. So that's what it sounds like, and somehow maybe they got it back on. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I thought had happened.
On now?
Just at the street, because I was asked to, because the plumbers wanted to do some work in it.
Okay. Now looking at page 2 of Exhibit 1, there are some 12.3 and 12.22 high usage amounts. Do you know what that's from? Did anybody call and complain that there was a leak?
No, but 22.
The two big bar graphs, they go up to 1,500 and then it looks like 2,000.
Did somebody call and say there was a leak? No, but the water went through the meter.
Okay. So what you effectively tell us is the water goes through the meter or not. You don't tell us what happens after the
No.
meter.
The
And if
water
there's a
went through the
problem.
meter, went somewhere in that building.
Okay. But there were no reports.
Okay. Seriously, dude, you're arguing the wrong thing. Like, it doesn't matter what if everybody wanted to take a bath or people turn their water on to keep the pipes from freezing? I don't know. But dude, you're arguing the wrong thing. Like, in my opinion, you're arguing the wrong thing. Trying to, I don't know. Yeah, I'm frustrated by this guy so much.
You have leaks or concerns?
Nope.
I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. You may step down. Mr. Summy, as long as you're here, let's find out what resources you have available. Stoney, would you come forward, please? Why don't you come right up in the witness box? Thank you for being here, even though you were going to get dragged into the witness box, but I appreciate everybody's. Please swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief. I do. Thank
Okay, I
you.
really liked,
Uh,
I think it's
would you state your
Stormy.
name for the record,
He does
please?
so much for the
Stormy
veterans
Summy,
in this
I am the
community.
Director of Veterans Affairs for St. Joseph County.
Have you been present through the proceeding here this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any veterans under your care or supervision that are in this facility?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
All right, but if there were, would you have any resources for them,
I would.
including housing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this just again speaks volumes. His name, I think he keeps saying Stormy or Sony. He doesn't have any veterans in the building. He's at least that he's taken care of, but he's still here at this hearing, and he literally does not need to be. That is like freaking amazing. We need more people in this world like him. They like literally honestly give a shit. Like, oh, I like him even more now.
All right, any questions for Mr. Summing?
No questions.
All right, and funding for that housing, correct?
I do, yes.
All right, thank you for being here. You're good to sit. How many residents of the facility are here represented? All right, so 1, 2, are you two in the same unit? 3, 4, 5 tenants are represented. Is anyone here wish to testify about what you know about this? All right, of all of you want to confirm?
Yeah.
Would you come up into the witness box, please?
Hey, Ironton Auditor. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I don't know if I'm assuming everyone's heard of Ironton Auditor at this point with different issues that have been going on in Ironton, but I highly suggest you guys check him out. You can actually, in my opinion, he does auditing the right way. And he is, sorry, Fritz, yeah. Sorry. He does live streams, I want to say like almost every night. Very interesting. I love watching his videos and his live streams. So I highly suggest checking him out. If you don't already subscribe, you should go subscribe to him real quick.
Sorry, it's the middle of the night for me.
All
I'm
right.
third shift.
Well, thank you for being here. You swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give here will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
Yes, I
All
do.
right, have a seat if you would. Would you state your name?
Babette Nico,
Babette Legal?
Yes.
Babbette.
Babette, last name Leko.
Well, I was wrong on both fronts. Do you live at Mill Race Landing?
Yes, I do.
What's your unit number?
20.
And where are you staying presently?
Well, when I was looking up,
Okay, I swear that we have had some landlord-tenant cases out of this mill race place, unless there's maybe a bunch of apartments known as mill race. I swear we had landlord-tenant with the whole Sarah program. I don't know. That's just, it sounds super familiar for some reason.
roughly yesterday, they told me I had to get out right then and there. Woke me up and said, you need to get out now. And they didn't have anything offering to go anywhere at that time, and I had nowhere to go. I ended up trying to notify my renter's insurance to see what they can offer me. But apparently there's a nationwide of freezing, so everybody's behind on returning phone calls and getting people situated, so that they said they would get a hold of me today to see about accommodations. So
Okay, Jamie, absolutely. Ironton Auditor is a great guy, and he really truly is trying to make changes for the community. So I agree with you on that. As far as like the nationwide freeze, I'm not sure if she's talking about like actual freezing weather. But as a resident, yeah, like what she's gonna say is extremely important for the overall like reality of this case.
Where did you spend last night?
I worked third shift, so I ended up going to work.
Do you have a pet?
That's convenient for her.
Pet?
Aaron was able to let me, told me that he would be okay to stay there for the night, and then I couldn't come pick him back up this morning.
It's a dog?
Yes,
What's the kind?
he's a 6-pound 2 mix.
And is it
Dash
okay
hounds
for
are
him
better.
to go for tonight?
Yeah.
How did you find out about, was your apartment flooded?
No, my apartment actually, out of everything, my apartment is fine. And oddly enough, my apartment also has heat up till, it sounds like until they turned off the water to the street. Because it's, like they said, there's some water heat. So my heat was still continuous and it was still on.
And you're on the west side?
East side, you're under.
East side, so I'm on the east side, yeah.
So were you even aware that there'd been a pipe break or anything?
Yeah, because I worked third shift and the natives were restless the whole time. And then when the water, we got that text that the water being shut off.
Okay, I like this lady. The natives were restless. I really do like her.
All right.
And one of my dash hounds is an asshole.
No, I mean, me myself, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Like I said, my unit, even when the plumber came by, he checked my unit for the heating on, what was that? Tuesday night, I think it was. They went to check and they said that my unit was fine. And
So you had no flooding in your unit?
I have no flooding, no moisture, nothing in my, oddly enough, my heat works too, you know, up till when they turn the water off to the street. And when I asked the plumber, I said, why is that? You know, he goes, I can't tell you how this plumbing is all situated in here, you know.
Okay, as previously testified, it is a boiler heater, so it runs the steam through the pipes. So I'm pretty sure what it is the water may have still been running through the pipes or the steam. And I don't know why the plumbers would not have recognized it was a boiler. Sorry, Una's now laying on cords. But yeah, no, that's why she may have had to use, because it was a boiler heater and it just goes on the steam.
But, you know, he goes, your unit's good, you know, so I would like to stay in my unit, you know, since when I don't have anywhere to go, you know, and I just moved from Colorado and I just trying to get my animal stationary because he was losing his air, being stressed out, and I almost lost him. So I feel if I have to disrupt his situation again, because I just moved here a few months ago, I might end up losing my dog, and I just can't seem to go through that again right now.
Okay, this is heartbreaking. Like, she just moved here. This is really sad. I hope and I pray, and I'm not really a praying person, but I hope that they're able to find some type of accommodation for this woman with her pets. That way they can get the landlord and the maintenance people to get their butts in gear and get this stuff back up and going so that this woman doesn't lose her housing. Some people may assume, oh, you know, like this actually does impact the residents so much. So I really, really hope that they are able to get this, you know, get these repairs done right away.
Any questions?
Did you call the property manager at all during this situation?
We had spoke on the first night, we spoke with Ginger. She gave me a few gallons of water and I told her that I wasn't gonna do because I wasn't feeling well that night. On the first night, yeah, that the water was out. And then, you know, she was more concerned about backing up. I was more concerned about my digestive and trying to use the bathroom. Other than that, we couldn't, nobody seemed to get a hold of them on Tuesday or Wednesday. And we did end up getting a text yesterday, you know, saying, speaking about what happened, you know, with the being disrupted in our apartments.
Did you ever get a hold of or talk to Houston Moyer here? Houston Moyer?
That guy, were you there given the water that day?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, we have nothing more to say, that he is, and not very sympathetic at all. When they said, you know, at least you got a roof over your head, that's the kind of guy he is. He was not sympathetic at all to any concerns or needs, you know.
Asshole.
And I was done talking.
I think
to
I
him.
called that one.
You know, and I told Ginger after that, I said, please do not have him come speak to me again when we're speaking, because it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay, thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Van Eyck?
To make sure we have the people straight, you don't deal with Mr. Moyer when you live there and everything was going fine. You deal with Ginger Hemsley, is that right?
Well, she's been the only contact I've had.
Okay, she's over here. She's the apartment manager.
Right, she's been the only contact I've had, and up until when this happened, and they came to the door to offer a few gallons of water, and then he decided to jump into it, and he was very heartless and very cold. And I was, I said, you're disrupting everything right now, and you're gonna treat us like that on top of it? That was uncalled for.
To matter of fact, not enough caring. Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, I believe who she's talking about is the landlord coming in. Definitely an asshole. I don't blame this woman for not wanting to interact with him. This is so we have. I know from the bathroom nightmare case with Judge Simpson, they have like these landlords can be fined for every day that like something's like they're not fixed. Honestly, like I'm not a vindictive person, but I feel like he should be getting fined. I think it was $1,200 a day per tenant. I don't know. Something needs to happen to this landlord though, because he's a jackass.
Maybe you can step down. I'm trying to get a sense of what the situation is on the premise. Is anybody else you'd like to come forward? Please come forward. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief? Have a seat if you would and state your name.
Brianna Flores,
Could you spell it for us?
BRIANNAFLORES.
And what unit are you in?
13.
Have you been here on a landlord tenant case regarding your apartment?
Not previously.
Okay. What would you like me to know?
So it sounds like I was right when I think that this apartment, this landlord's been in front of Middleton for landlord tenant stuff.
The remedy to that situation was dropping off maybe 3 gallons to each apartment. I tried to contact them the following day on Tuesday, telling them that 3 gallons was not enough.
So you've been without heat since Friday, December 23rd,
Yes.
and no water since Monday, December 26th.
Yes.
Seriously, throw the book at this dude. 3 gallons of water. It's now Thursday, so this happened on Monday, so 4 days. Oh, you guys, I'm so angry with this guy. I seriously hope Judge Middleton finds him for this crap.
Who lives at your apartment?
Me and my boyfriend.
You have a pet?
Yeah.
It was very cold over the Christmas holiday. How cold did it get in your apartment?
I think we got to 40, low 50.
Did you have a heater or anything in there?
It did not work. We don't have a space heater.
Yeah, so John, who actually gave me the tip about the case I just premiered, Judge Middleton is not amused, and I really think he's probably gonna throw the book at this landlord. Like, happened Monday. Monday over the weekend it was like 3 degrees. Like, no joke. It snowed all weekend, and like when you were out on the roads, even if they were plowed and salted, it was still solid ice underneath slush. So we literally were driving on top of ice this weekend and Monday, and they didn't have heat. and he didn't do anything immediately. I mean, oh, I don't know. This guy is. I wonder if they can bring criminal charges against him, because that's what it sounds like this dude needs. He needs to go chill in lockup for like 10 days or something.
So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, you had no heat. Is that correct?
Yes,
Bingo.
What's your status now?
still none. When they said they restored everyone's heat, that was not true for our unit.
Did your apartment flood?
Yes, from 2 different walls.
Tell me about that.
One happened Monday.
This is
was
just getting
against
worse
our
and worse and
wall with
worse.
slider doors to our patio. It was leaking out of our AC unit. We tried to soak it up with towels and blankets, and we had to stop at some point because it wasn't helping. It was leaking directly into the an outlet where you plug in our AC, and the plumbers told us that it was fine, that the water did that. The very next day, yesterday, it leaked out of our.
No, that is not fine. The plumber said it was fine, that it was still leaking. No, absolutely not. That was not okay. I don't know what world and realm these people come from, but it's not okay. For fuck's sake, just, oh my God, these people, I can't with them. Like, I'm so angry right now.
Our baseboard and flooded our whole floor, to where which city had to be called to shut off water because it was leaking onto my floor.
Where did you stay last night?
I had to sleep on a couch
Where?
at my mother's.
What town?
3 Rivers.
Your boyfriend's there with you?
Yes, sir.
And all your possessions are left in your apartment?
Yes, sir. We grabbed some clothes and left.
And it's all soggy?
Yep. Our couch was soaked from both leaks. One was just from the floor up and the other it dripped onto it.
All right, is there anything else you'd like me to know?
No.
Anyone have any questions for this witness?
Your Honor.
No.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
That
We've
second
got
attorney
somebody
was
who
very
has
smart
no
to not say
flooding, who has
shit.
some heat. She's got both. Any other unit tenant that'd like to tell me where their status is? Apparently there are none. I'm not sure how much notice everybody got even to be at this hearing. It happened so quickly. It was after 5 o'clock and staff stuck around, which I greatly appreciate, from our court and the clerk's office to make this happen. And I certainly couldn't set it any sooner than I did.
So I have to say, like, I love Judge Simpson because he's extremely funny. He's also very compassionate, but the compassion that Judge Middleton has for the members of his community, and it's because he's so involved in the community. He's been there for, well, I think he said at one point he was a prosecuting attorney in 1981 and then joined, the court. He is extremely compassionate. He gets it, and he really feels for people. So I really do love Judge Middleton. I love exactly how he's doing, handling this case. Especially the court staff stayed over to help get some sort of situations, get something to try and help these people. So I do think that the court staff in St. Joseph County, they're all very, very amazing people.
And we're about to go into a 4-day holiday weekend. We won't be back in session until January the 3rd, which time Judge Stutzman will be back, and he could have handled all this, but it has to be dealt with now. All right, so we got a mixed bag. We got people that could move into their unit if the heat was turned on and the water was turned on. We got people that their apartments are not habitable. We've got people that are sleeping on a family member's couch. We've got people that are placed in housing with the money about to run out after tonight. And we have one lady that has nowhere to go. So where does that leave us? Ms. Sieber?
Your Honor, this isn't really just about the contract between the tenants and the property owner. It's really a public safety issue, which is why we have to get involved. I believe it sounds as though there are maybe attempts being made to make this thing habitable at some point, but I don't think it's going to happen before January 3rd from the sounds of it. And these people, they just need to have a safe place to stay. And I cannot tell you this is necessarily a safe place at this point.
Well, I'm interested that it flooded at least 3 times and nobody did anything until the area agency on aging was in there and they started the ball rolling. The landlord didn't self-report, and the people are being adequately underserved. And so I agree, but I still have a question of what do we do with all the people?
That was
who
an
I say
understatement.
Can't go back. We do have some resources available from different agencies for different constituencies. But it's not a question with a simple solution. So you're asking for what? Continuing temporary restraining order?
Yes, until Monday or Tuesday. I'm sorry, it's till Tuesday or Wednesday next week at least.
Well, and I don't propose to hand this back to Judge Stutzman. I was being a bit facetious, but in for a penny, in for a pound. And I do this sort of thing. I'm the landlord tenant judge. I'm the zoning judge and code compliance judge. So I'm not unfamiliar with this. But traditionally, restraining orders are called equitable relief. And district courts, in most circumstances, except zoning, don't have equitable authority. That means in order to tell you to either do something or not do something, that authority lies in the circuit court. And this is an equitable relief where they're asking me to restrain people from going there. And I don't think this property is where it needs to be. We're also under the issue that we have, everyone's on vacation, including all the judges, many of the staff, probably contractors. But we've got real people with real problems. So, Mr. Van Eck, what is acceptable to you and your client?
You know, I think I've said previously, and I guess I'll reiterate it, that you know, injunctions are only and are very limited to the extent of protecting against harm that can't be measured by money damages. And in the landlord-tenant world, typically that word is habitability. So the question is, at what point does it become habitable? And my client believes that most of the work that causes the flooding and no heat, which are the 2 big things in potable water, that those will be cured by the end of this week. Now, recognizing that there are other concerns people may have, and some people may have, I think this court's word was soggy stuff. I think we all interpret that to know what that means, that when your stuff is wet, it probably needs to be thrown out, but that's a money damage issue. That is not a habitability issue. That will need to be addressed in due time. It's our position that if our client can determine in that the repairs have been done, that the heat are on and the building is safe, that the tenant then has a contractual right to go back into that building if they feel safe. If they do not, or they believe it appropriate, if they do not, then they have a contractual right to withhold rent until they believe it reaches a habitability state. And at some point, this court, maybe at the district court level, can make a determination of what's appropriate. But we can't wander out into a non-set time frame, holding until Tuesday or Wednesday. Is that going to cause my client heartburn? Probably not. And I don't think that that's the worst thing. But if we're ready to go tomorrow and the apartment is habitable and the tenant walks in and says, yes, it's habitable to me, why should anybody stand in the way of them moving back into their unit? That is ultimately where we're at. Most calamity-based nuisances, and this was brought under the nuisance law, calamity-based nuisances, they give notice and give 30 days. So under that law, the question is whether my client gets the repairs done and complies with removing this property from being a nuisance based on a calamity and brings them back out of that. If they do, then what this court is really only doing, and I think this court in the beginning only has the legal authority to do, is to protect the tenants. Now, should the tenants have been specifically named in here so they could be parties to this? Likely, but this court, I think, is giving some opportunity for the tenants to have a voice, and certainly is looking out for the tenants in this proceeding. But I think once it reaches a point where they say, yeah, we're ready to go back in, I think that's their choice. As long as things are made safe, and I think the made safe is the responsibility and duty of my client. Those are the two relationships that we have in a landlord-tenant proceeding. The idea of nuisance is whether everything's repaired in 30 days according to the village's laws.
All right, well, if we had a regular court schedule, I'd monitor this every day. Court's not open for the next 4 days. And I don't trust your client to monitor this situation. He didn't report it. There was a flood. There was another flood. There was another flood. The tenant's description of his concern for their well-being was not very reassuring. And what remedial action they've taken so far appears to be inadequate. I don't know if this property is insured, if he has insurance to cover this, how many of the tenants have renters insurance that may mitigate some of their loss. But the fact that you should be thankful you have a roof over your head and it's 52 degrees in your apartment on Christmas Eve is not very reassuring.
Okay, shoot, the dog's gonna go crazy because Amazon just dropped him off. But I have a lot to say to this attorney, okay? He's talking about how it's a monetary damage, so therefore, it's not an emergency thing. To the landlord, it's just monetary. But to the residents, this is literally their clothing that they have. You have to have clothing to wear. And if someone's couch is getting soaked, you can damn well assume that everything is going to be soaked in that apartment. So no, it's not just monetary damages. You asshole. It's so frustrating. And yeah, no, I don't trust this landlord, like, at all. The shit this attorney is saying about, oh, when is it habitable? Really, dude? I mean, I'm sure there's probably some way that they could do, like, get an inspection in and get a unit cleared so that tenant can move back into that unit. I'm pretty sure there's got to be something like that can be done. I don't know for a fact. I'm thinking that logically that should be a thing. Oh my god. So I don't know. This attorney is literally bringing up stuff that is really sort of irrelevant to the immediate issue. Jamie said he's a good attorney, and sort of him being a good attorney for his client, but it's the wrong. He's wrong for what he's going. He's going too hard for these tenants. I mean, there's just I don't know. I don't like this guy at all, and I think that this landlord or this company, they are complete scum. At this point, my opinion is they are complete scum, and they need to not be allowed to operate.
So I want someone I trust to monitor this, namely me. And it's unfortunate that we have this 4-day weekend. Otherwise, I'd set it for tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I have a jury trial scheduled for Wednesday, January 4th. That Mr. Sapanos and Mr. Coaches assure me is going to be resolved. So I'm going to continue this temporary restraining order until 9 a.m. on January 4th of 2023.
And what would the court anticipate occurring on?
I would like to understand what remedial measures have been taking place between now and then. And
When the
if
judge is
apartments
more
are
concerned
able
about the
to be
residents than the freaking owners,
livable,
seriously.
I'll lift the temporary order and perhaps fashion a different kind of order. But I don't, there's too much uncertainty. The place is flooded 3 times. Water's coming out of the light fixtures, out of the hood ornament, the stove hoods. It's coming out of the air conditioners. Coming
Yeah,
out
I
the
really
floor
don't like this
fixtures.
attorney.
Everything in there is soaking wet, it's cold, and it's about to mold. So in point of fact, it's gonna be a giant mess. All the drywall is gonna have to come out of there, all the carpeting is gonna have to come out of there, all the insulation is gonna have to come out of there. All of the subflooring perhaps, I don't know. Floods are difficult to remediate, at least this isn't salt water. Some of the people, their units did not flood. I may open half of it to those people, but right now, I don't know that there's gonna be any heat or any water. And I wonder whether all the contractors wanna work on New Year's Eve weekend. So the next available space I have to deal with this will be next Wednesday. Now, I'm concerned about Miss Lake and her unit 20, that she could go there. She's got a small dog and I'm keeping her out until next Wednesday. That's a terrible inconvenience. And there are probably other people in her same position. We've got some people that I think can help with some resources to house these people. But again, I make this ruling and then somebody else has got to pick up the pieces. But I'm uncomfortable, and I think this is a public safety issue. And so this restraining order is continued until further hearing, which will be January 4th at 9 a.m. Ms. Seaver, you shall prepare the order.
I will, thank you, Your Honor.
Can somebody connect with the people that are?
Okay, this case is just, it definitely highlights Judge Middleton and how much he truly cares for the people. Sorry, my dog is a jerk. Yeah, he's definitely not going to let people come back into the apartment until he is 100% satisfied that it is safe for them to return. And that shouldn't be the judge. That shouldn't be the role the judge has to play. Absolutely. I mean, he does, but it shouldn't be. And if the landlord is like, oh, well, dude, when you own a property, you always run the risk of an emergency happening, whether it's a water main break, or pipes leaking, electricity, there's something electrical going on, the house burning down, natural disaster. That's just a risk that you take. And that is a known risk that you take. So for this attorney to be, advocating for his client about, the money, no, I'm sorry. That is a risk. If you buy a house, that there is a chance that you could have the same type of damage and you're responsible to repair it. I don't know why the landlord or owner doesn't understand that same responsibility. So my opinion on this landlord, scum. This attorney, I really, really don't like. Maybe he's a good attorney for other clients, but this is the wrong case to be this big of an asshole on. And just, I've said it a couple of times. This just really angers me. This shit really pisses me off. You don't do this to people, especially in the middle of winter, the Christmas weekend, and you're gonna fucking argue about. This is why, I'm an extrovert. This is why, when I say I hate people, this is what I mean. It's people like this. This just is so infuriating. So infuriating.
they're here, or appoint them at either area agency or somebody to help this lady find a place to be. And the others that need some emergency housing assistance, to put them up somewhere other than a 42-degree apartment with no water. All right, the TRO is continued until Wednesday, January 4th, 2020. All right, it'll be in recess.
Sorry, Jamie, not trying to rub it in. There was a couple of years ago, we had, we were remodeling our bathroom, and we were taking, our house had carpet in the bathroom, so we were ripping out the carpet, we were putting in linoleum, we'd painted everything, and once we got the carpet up, we realized the subfloor was really soft, and it ended up literally like collapsing beneath us. So we had to call a company in. My husband was trying to replace the subfloor by himself. Oh, when I say he's not a carpenter, I mean that in the best and nicest way, because I love him, but he cannot cut a straight line. He cannot make something square. But he wanted to do it, which is fine. I understand that. But it got to the point where we actually had to call someone to come in. And when they were pulling out the subfloor, they were like, oh, it's underneath the tub as well. So then they were like, the water heater shares the wall with our shower head. So they went and looked, and we had a leak in our water heater. So we don't know how long it was leaking, but it did destroy the subfloor. So Jamie, I am not trying to rub it in. I totally understand how frustrating it is when this happens, and as homeowners, you're responsible for it. But it's the landlord. Like, that's just a known risk. Period. If you own something, you're gonna have issues, and you're gonna have to take care of it. Just like a car. You own a car. If the engine breaks, you gotta go get it fixed. You need to get your spark plugs changed and whatever. You know, your brake rotor is degreased. And no, I don't. I know that's not a thing. But yeah, that's just a part of it. So them trying to this landlord and lawyer trying to I don't know. They're trying to like garner sympathy. Read the room. Just read the room, dude. You're not getting some sympathy in everything you're saying. Every word is making both Judge Middleton and us other people here watching. It really is not a good situation.
Back to put some better notes in. I'm going to keep that.
That's fine.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm going to. I think I've called you more times today than I have. You know, there are those days, aren't there? It's just like. No, but I'm gonna get with IT. And. Right, and then.
Sure. Did your wife come back? No, she's not.
Okay, there's a reason why I'm still playing this.
I took 3.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Thank you.
He's here from Lapeer.
It's a groupie.
That beeping is the worst sound ever.
Thank you, thank you. I get people coming from Oklahoma,
California.
Arkansas, California, New York, Georgia, Alpena, Cadillac, Three Rivers.
Soon to be Lansing.
They like the deputies. Oh, they're big fans of the deputies too. They want their picture taken with them. And he's just a nice man from Lapeer. he's on Christmas vacation, and he and his wife drove here from Lapeer today to do this, and then they went to Yoder's for lunch. And I have two twin sisters who are super groupies, and a guy from New York who now my Learned League email buddy. Yeah, it's just an odd phenomenon. I said they all come because they want to see Debbie, but I think they want to see you.
I
too.
don't think so.
That might
It's
be
a very
possible.
strange phenomenon.
I'm not
The
sure.
sisters,
What was the difference, you know? I think-
they made a bunch of these.
No.
I don't think
No.
it was that.
As I heard that, I'm like, there it is.
And they sent them to everybody on there got one of those for Christmas.
I want to see what they got sent.
With the attorneys, like John Bush and TJ and yeah, you know, they got everybody in like a smiling
Yeah, they
pose.
did, yeah, they did.
They
yeah.
screen cap, this is court staff, and then they did another one with all the attorneys on it. So anyway, it's an odd world we live
Well,
in.
thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yes, all right, let's hope we get some things done between now and then.
Sorry. That beeping is so super annoying. I apologize, guys. It hurts my ears. So yeah, that case is kind of a nightmare. Obviously we will be here on the 4th to watch, see where this case goes. I don't think I'll be able to live stream it. No, I don't work that day. But yeah, obviously Judge Middleton really cares about people in his community. He's such a good judge, specifically for that reason that he's so kind and compassionate. But yeah, we'll be paying attention to this case. I hope that in the end, this landlord ends up having to pay some sort of a fine. I mean, literally 3 leaks. That the only reason that the authorities found out is because residents had to call 911. So this landlord clearly doesn't care. So yeah, Judge Middleton is tall. That's so, I don't know. I'm still so upset by this case. I don't know. Oh, he's talking about, he thinks the people that watch or that come are just to see Debbie Davis. Totally possible. That might be. But I really think, well, you guys, you're here with me watching this hearing, and it has nothing to do with any of us. But we love watching court stuff, and we really have a vested interest in the residents of these communities and these counties. So I don't think it's just for Debbie Davis, although that may have been what attracted some people in the beginning. So as I was saying, yeah, I will be on the 4th. I will have to re-listen, check what time. I'm going to actually live stream that one too. Who knows what's going to come of it. I mean, I hope the landlord gets his butt in gear and makes these repairs happen. Because at this point, they've been out of their house for almost a week. And so it's going to be like 10 or 12 days before the next hearing from when this apparently happened. So, yeah. He better get his butt in gear, because I'm pretty sure that Judge Middleton will hand him his ass if he doesn't. And that's why one of the reasons we just seriously love Judge Middleton. I do want to thank you guys for subscribing and liking, sharing my videos, commenting, getting my stuff out to the algorithm, to whatever the algorithm. I do not understand how that works. I've tried to look at it. I don't get it. But you guys, literally in June or July when I first started, I had like 2 subscribers, and last I looked, which was last night, I'm over 1,570 something. I may be higher now. So seriously, thank you guys. All of the comments, that helps with, because I am monetized, so it helps with the revenue. I have been able to purchase a bunch of different equipment to help me further, like a flash drive for my phone to get my videos off the phone, so I can edit it, an external hard drive, so I could literally store all of the videos that I haven't used that I will probably use in the future to make whatever, or when I record cases and I record multiple hearings and try to do a big video so it's all together and not so broken up. I was able to actually purchase a new iPad this last weekend. So I did editing last night, and let me tell you, having that iPad versus my little phone that I've been working on, it is amazing. I have coming today. Oh, I bought the microphone headset thing so you guys can hear me better. Amazon should have dropped off a different webcam so that you can see. I know I'm like really far back, but this is as close as I can get the laptop to me without it being physically on my body. So that's gonna, I got a new webcam. I forgot the word. I had a new webcam coming. I have like keyboard and stuff coming for my iPad. So this is gonna just be able to help things get better. Sorry, I gotta figure out a better microphone. I'm not quite sure this is the best one, but it was one of the cheapest ones, so that's what I bought. You know where the Walmart and Myers are? They're typically off the highway. I don't know. I mean, I should know, but I don't, because I have ADHD. And then, yes. So Jamie's talking about Debbie Davis. She really brought, attention to the courtroom. Also, there was the whole court cam video with Buhini, Sexual 3000. I want to say the full name because it'll get me demonetized for this video. I think that was probably the first time I had heard of Judge Middleton was on court cam. So, yeah. I got this one. Oh, a pic of my completed projects? You mean knitting? I mean, I have some photos of my knitting stuff. I don't know. I do a lot of hats, especially like the end of summer and fall. For winter, I knit up a lot of hats. And then I give them either, like, normally I give them to the state police because the state police headquarters is like basically kitty corner to me, about a quarter mile away. So I normally take them there because they are, obviously, they know where the need is versus trying to go to all the shelters and find out who needs them or whatever. So I normally give the hats to them. Yes. Jamie said yes. I do have pictures. I have pictures of like the husband I knitted my sweater. I have some pictures of sweaters that I've knitted for my nephews and for a friend's baby. I haven't. I've done one or two videos spinning yarn. I actually recorded one Christmas night and I haven't put it up. It was actually a really long recording. So I have some of that stuff. I will have to remember to put more content up about that or community posts. I know I've shared, I don't know why he's barking. I know I've shared photos of like the yarn that I've spun. I can pop one of those back up in the community section. So yeah. Yes. The suspect and victim being in the same room. I don't know if they're in the same room, but they were in the same like house or apartment. That was also another one that really got a lot of airplay, like over and over and over. But then again, that just shows how concerned Judge Middleton is. I know I think it was Judge Middleton that had literally had the cops show up at the guy's house during the Zoom hearing to arrest him and didn't say anything. I don't know. There are a lot of good judges out there. Unfortunately, as we've learned, there's some not good judges, but there's a lot of good ones. So anyways, it is 4:50. I need to start dinner. And I need to apparently muzzle my dog. I don't have a muzzle for him. I'm joking. Anyways, I will see you guys later. I do have other videos to edit that I was going to work on, but I just started playing because all day long, like I'm playing the videos, like or on YouTube, watching everything, jumping around from courtroom to courtroom. So I was starting to work on editing, realized I missed part of a video, so I went to go try and re-record it, and then it was emergency PPO, and I was like, Judge Middleton, emergency PPO? Yes. Yes, when Judge Middleton says it's an emergency, you know it's going to be a good case. And on that note, if you guys have a tip, like there's a good hearing from Michigan, I'll put my email down in the description when it gets posted, uploaded. My email is jesscarus at gmail.com. It's just JESCARUSS, just like my name, it's my name at gmail.com. Absolutely. Email it to me. Email the link to me. Let me know. Like if I just found the court is like Livonia, the city of Detroit. Like I didn't have that courtroom because it's obviously not labeled as a Michigan, whatever. So yeah, if you guys have any tips or anything, obviously get a hold of me. Leave comments on current videos that I have. Yes, hit that like button. No, don't hit it. Smash that like button and then hit that share button so that more people can find my stuff. Pink Floyd videos. I love Pink Floyd. I love Queen. As I say, Freddie Mercury is my spirit animal. All right. Anyways, I gotta get off here. Thank you guys for joining me. I will go live if possible on the 4th. I do have more content to put up. I did get a seasonal part Hey guys, if you're still here, I apologize. My laptop battery died. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys coming out and watch. I have a good, safe New Year's Eve. Don't drink and drive. Don't do naughty things. Don't do anything that's gonna land you in YouTube court. I will see you guys later. I appreciate all the support and love, and you guys have a great and safe weekend.